David Thompson, go ahead.
Hey, Ricky. We've heard the nickname. I think it was, what is it, Craig and Day for the two running back. Obviously, we know where that comes from Friday, but can you kind of give me a little backstory of how you guys, decided on that nickname?
I mean, it was a hassle. We thought about that name we didn't even think about that name originally. Originally, we was just whatever people gave us. But then we was like, we had some of the people on our team, and they was like, yo, well, you don't want to be like everybody else. Do something funny. Like, that was like, what? And then we like Craig and Day. So we like top flight security of the world. So it was like, yeah, all right. We just took it and ran with it. So that's where that came from. It really came from Cyrus Fagan.
Oh, yeah. So who's Craig? Who's Day?
I'm Craig, and Day is Bam.
Todd Gibson.
Yeah, Ricky, I know this college football has kind of moved towards a passing game. Would you like to see you guys get more touches in the backfield? Because you got two outstanding running backs. You guys do, and just you and Zonovan. Would you like to see that get more touches and see the running game get going at NC State?
Honestly, of course, we want the running game to get going, but we want to be able to contribute any way we can. That's in the pass game, us coming out of the backfield, catching the ball in the backfield, and us being out in space against, a defender. I'd rather have, take my chances with us doing that than, like we can run the ball. We know we can, but most teams that we've been playing, they've been studying the film real well, stacking the box. But other than that, it's nothing that we can't handle at the end of the day.
Is it kind of frustrating seeing them stacking the box? And Devin's been playing pretty well at quarterback.
Of course it's frustrating. It's frustrating for any running back. You run against a loaded box all the time, but that's what you sign up for, a running back. You're not always going to have a clear picture where the box not going to be, loaded. So, we contribute, the best way we can, whether that's in pass protection or getting out and route inside the pass game and, making one miss and, getting upfield.
Does that kind of make you guys feel good in the backfield, though, that they're giving you guys that much attention? They know how good you guys are.
Of course. That's part of the game.
James Henderson.
Yeah, Ricky, when you look at this Louisville team, who do they resemble to you defensively?
I want to say they kind of resemble me almost like a Miami team, just because, the type of defense structures they have, and they flow to the ball real well. But they're not as big as Miami. But from time, just studying the film just today, they look good on film. So we still, got to take out the kinks and stuff like that, and go back to the film room, after practice today and study some more and see what their tendency are on defense.
And you may have been asked this before I got on, but you had a big pass block on that right before halftime to spring that touchdown pass. How important is pass blocking to you? And is that something that you feel like, what's some of the main traits you need to be good at that?
I take great responsibility in pass protection. That's something that, I take a lot of pride in. Coach Rope knows that. We in practice and I mess up in pass protection. I'm like, okay, I need that right back right now. Like, tell me what I need to do. But really pass protection is nothing but understanding the defense and understanding, basically the stuff that you relied on all week from practice and the film sessions and, and just seeing it in real life. But football is really easy. Just like Coach Rope used to tell us, you can count to 11, you can really play ball. So just being good with your eyes and being disciplined to your, to your rules when it comes to the protection.
Thank you.
Jonas.
Hey, Ricky. Yesterday, Coach Doran talked to us about this team has to have the next man up mentality, and you guys have had it so far. But as an older guy, how much do you preach to the younger guys at any position that it's now more than ever, it's important to stay ready, pay attention to practice, watch the film. You never know when your number might be called.
Exactly. I know, for instance, like one of my teammates, Khalid Martin, for instance, like he be practicing with the scout team, but he also looking over at the defense, because just like that, your number can get called, and you can be running with the ones on defense. So it's very, very, attention to detail and everything else when it comes to stuff like that. But like you said, that's something that we preach and we've been preaching for a minute. Next man mentality, and like Coach Thunder said, if you ready, you have to get ready. So that's you coming back to the Murph, sitting down with your coach, getting inside the playbook for that game, whether or not, if they need you or you don't need you. It's a simple fact that, you having that drive and that want to be able to help your team out any way possible.
And as a follow-up, one guy who's be thrust into action now is Devon Betty. You've been practicing against him. What can you tell us a little bit? What's the scouting report on him for us who haven't seen him play a lot?
I mean, he's a hard worker. He's been showing up a lot on special teams. And then now it's unfortunate what happened to Zay, but I mean, like they say, it's a part of the game. Injuries happen. But I mean, Zay's coaching Betty up. Betty's taking in all the information from Zay. I mean, Zay's been in the meetings, helping Betty any way he can on the field, practice. So I mean, Betty's gonna be ready to play. He just a well-rounded guy. I mean, he want to help his team win, and I love that about him.
David Thompson.
Can you kind of let us know what it's like in the locker room right now, coming off that loss and just a couple days later? You guys still have the goal intact. So I mean, where's the mentality? Where's everyone in their headspace?
I mean, honestly, we all hurt from the game, honestly. But I mean, it's a whole lot of stuff that's been going on, that's been said on social media from certain people. But I mean, honestly, that honestly just added more fuel to the fire. And it's either you with us or you're not. And just like I told them, my team, because I talked with the team at the end of the game, and we was all hurt, crying, the whole nine, because we was worked so hard, and we just had that one slip up, But I mean, it's just we back to the lab, we back working, honestly. So I mean, work.
I imagine too, you're kind of talking a little bit, because I saw what you're talking about on Twitter a little bit with like Devin Carter, and he put out some things about how he was feeling, and obviously the response to any college football player, if they don't have a great game, can be tough sometimes. How does that act as a rallying point? And is there anything you've said or done with Devin just to kind of be like, hey man, we've got your back type of thing?
Yeah, he's honestly my roommate. He like my blood brother. We came in together. Our family's really close. So I mean, I understand his frustration. I understand his pain, because we put in, so much work on the off season, catching over 100 balls on the jug. So I understand the type of frustration and pain he has. But people need, some people in this world need to understand that, every man's not perfect. Everybody's not going to have that perfect game, because even Kobe Bryant had an off game. You know what I mean? LeBron have an off game. But it's a simple fact of how you respond to the next, your next task. And the simple fact that he's up in, in good spirits now. He's leading. He's been a leader on this offense as well. He's very vocal, and he's still vocal. And it's not just because he had that bad game, but it's a simple fact that, we all been there. We all experienced something like that before in our life. And that's just part of the game, honestly. And it's a simple fact of how you respond.
Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, Ricky, kind of piggybacking off what David just asked you to. How long does it take you to shake off a loss, and when does personally, and when is the world okay for Ricky after you guys get beat? When does things back to normal for you?
Personally, I'm right back to it right after the game, honestly. Looking at the tapes, looking at what I could have did wrong. Of course, I'm gonna be mad, but the simple fact, you can't keep dwelling on the moment. It's the next, it's the next game. You gotta find something that, where you messed up in the game, to go back and correct it so it don't show up on film again, so that, the next opponent, so it won't happen when you play the next opponent.
And Jonas.
I'm just curious. How you said you were Craig and Bam was dating? How'd y'all pick? You got to be Craig because you're older? Is that how it went?
Nah, Craig, because Craig not that Devo. So that's why I'm Craig. I come with that boom, Bam the little loose of a guy, Dede, he a little fun type. He be running around acting foolish.
JB Ricks.
Hey Ricky, appreciate you taking out the time. Has there been any discussion about you guys still controlling your destiny? Even though you came off that loss, you guys still control your destiny to win, the division and go to the ACC championship. Can you let us in on the conversations that have been had about that?
Always. We know what's at stake. We understand that Miami wasn't a conference game, but of course we want to win every game. But you lose some, you win some. But at the same time, we just been having that same mentality. We got to lock in on Louisville and our conference play, and we just got to win out to be able to do what we want to do. And we control our own story at the end of the day.
David Thompson.
Quickly going back to this Craig and Day thing. And I wanted to ask you earlier too, do you go looking for those big hits? I go back and watch the highlights, and it's like, are you seeing that guy and you're like, oh, I'm about to give it to him, or is it just naturally the way you play, or are you trying to make statements sometimes with those hits?
Naturally, that's just how I play. I mean, it's just the heat of the moment of the game. I really just don't control what happened. I mean, I just play.
How much does that kind of get you pumped up though? I mean, I saw you had that big run against Miami. You kind of, you drag like 6 dudes and you got out and you were feeling yourself. I mean, how much does that get you into the flow?
I mean, honestly, that's just when, the game started to slow down for backs, when you've been there for a while, the defense started to slow down, after a while, everything just started, popping for you. And so then that's when you start getting the feel of the game, and vice versa for Bam. Bam the same exact way, and he'll tell you the same exact thing. Like when the back start getting the flow of the game, that's when things start becoming easy for the back. And that's when the defense start being hectic for the defense.
Looks like everybody. Ricky, thank you very